Hello there, favorites, and welcome to Picket Fence Pretty, where we do all things pretty. Okay, I am working on Mahao's birthday cake. This is from a couple of weeks ago at this point that you get to see this. She had cupcakes for school, you see, but with nothing for home. And I was like, let me make her a banter cake initially. Funny enough, this is just the one sponge might constitute a banter cake, which is a single serving because it's a 4-inch cake, right? I think I own like three 4-inch baking pans, which is why I settled on the 6-inch for my banter cake, but that's really not part of this discussion here. I decided to do a tall 4-inch cake instead because I thought aesthetically it'll just serve more and I wanted to play. You get to play with the people in your life in terms of the things you're allowed to create for them. In my life anyway, right? They give me a lot of freedom, a lot of leeway. I get a lot of free reign to do all types of funky stuff that I wouldn't do with, a customer who's, a stranger and stuff. I need to follow the rules there by them. I addressed at the end of the video that I won't be adding the size to our offerings. I have very good reasons why I will not be adding the size. And then you hear them at the end because I decided to just record a little clip explaining myself and stuff. But you've seen me do the basics. You've seen me stack a tall cake before. This method of doing it for me produces a more stable cake and easier to work with cake. It does take longer because, the traditional way is to just do your border, put on your filling, and then put on the top part or the top sponge, right? And you keep going like that without resting it in between. I'm experiencing in my area when I started doing it this way, it's really, really hot. You see the way the sun is setting in my kitchen? I need to get curtains up there by the summer. I always remember by the summer that my baking studio gets so hot and I need to work around those things. So I was experiencing oozing, right? I would do the border, and then when I would put the top sponge back on, it would just press on that dam wall, the border that I had made, and then the filling would start to ooze out. So I started resting the dam wall, the border. When I would do it, I would start to rest it a little bit in the fridge to set before I fill it and put the top sponge on, because then the butter and the buttercream would be nice and hard and provide a more stable structure for the top sponge to come sit on. It is tedious, it is annoying, but I actually believe that if you are a beginner baker and you like especially these tall kind of cakes, you've been wondering how people are getting them right, it's worth exploring. Doing it this way is worth exploring, especially if you like a substantial filling to sponge ratio. And what I mean by that is that some people just like a little brushing of buttercream when they fill their cakes, right? My cakes are pairings, like the sponge is paired with a filling, right? So there's a marriage there, there's a conversation, there's an experience in your mouth that's happening. So the ratio has to make sense to me anyway. And I found that my customers respond to this ratio a lot better. It's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone. Some other people really like just to have a little slap of buttercream. Other people actually, there's this debate going on online right now where everybody's like, but buttercream being the default filling for cake means people are missing out. Like, people are missing out on a more decadent experience. That's why I like to fill mine with a different kind of thing, even though the buttercream is involved. Like, you see me lay it as a base. Again, it reinforces some rigidness. When I'm filling with something like custard, the reason I started doing that thin layer, I do a thin layer first of buttercream, right? And then I do the border. I do that layer because the buttercream hardens. So it serves as a barrier between whatever like runny filling I'm going to add to the sponge. It does not start to seep in the sponge and make the sponge go soggy. That's my thinking behind it. That's why with the sponge that goes on top, that I do another thin layer of buttercream. So just to keep that, because it's going to sit for a while. For other people, that texture of the custard or a runny kind of filling sitting on the sponge for too long, it's a bit soggy for them. So I use the buttercream to help me, if you would like, and it works out. Or for me, it's worked out thus far. I didn't make the caramel I'm using in this video. I used board caramel I always have a backup caramel situation on hand because caramel is quite a temperamental thing for me to make. It burns, it does all types of things. So if I know that I always have a can of a backup caramel sitting around somewhere. But basically, I went in like I do with my mini skyscraper. If you watch the video, I have a video on the channel. It's one of my earlier videos where I show you how to stack a tall cake. Same principles. Your tall cakes, you have to treat them like tiered cakes, and that you need to dial them, like you see me doing here. I have these dowels or skewers rather, because they're quite thin, but they're not as thin as kebab sticks. And I can't remember, like when I was in the shops, I just saw them and I bought them. I'm like, I'm sure I'll have a function for them. They were gonna dial better in this experience than say straws that I usually use because the cake is so small, right? I needed dowels that were gonna work. And doweling is what I'm doing right now. When you put the stick through the cake and all of that, or sticks to balance out the cake that serves sort of as pillars for the next cake to come sit on. You need to partition it with the board like that, and reinforce that rigidness. Like think of it like building a 2-story house and reinforcing the foundation. That's what you're doing here. You're putting pillars or columns in the cake because it's sponge. It will collapse on itself if you just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. And then when you add your fillings, you're adding more weight to it. That bottom sponge is going to hold a lot of pressure. That bottom dam wall is also going to like have to hold a lot. And it's just buttercream. It's not Hercules or anything like that. So you have to help it along, you know? I had decided not to trim this cake. Again, I got to play with this one, right? Usually I would go in and trim and do a whole bunch of other things, but I felt like I needed to quickly steady this, going in with some buttercream, dark chocolate buttercream. I have a water ganache recipe on the channel. I believe it's the first video. You don't have to scroll that far down because the content is not that old, or the channel rather. You can scroll down and find this recipe that I'm using here. It's been a lifesaver. But I went in with this to reinforce this, and it looks a bit wonky, looks a bit weird now here in the beginning, but trust the process. Eventually it works out and stuff like that. I believe this is why people also steer from posting content and stuff, right? Because it's a trust the process kind of situation where you're just like, do I want people to see my process? Do I want people? Because I'm looking at it now, right? Like I'm doing this voiceover and I'm like, there's a bit of a tilt there, but I know my table also has a slant, right? And I know that I didn't trim the cake, but again, I got to play and I got to try and figure things out and see if this is something that's going to work for me. And that's the other thing as well. Sometimes I allow myself to play because I always knew I don't want to add the size. I'm like, but how do you know? You don't know until you know. So then I did it, and now I know what I thought I knew, like what I always suspected about the size, the things that won't work about it as a size that I'm selling to customers on its own, not as a top tier to a bigger cake or anything like that. It works very well in those scenarios. It provides that tall, sleek look that I like, which is why I have these 3 pans. That's what I predominantly use them for. I actually put out a wedding cake that had this 4 inches of top tier a week or so ago, and I'm hoping I'll get around to editing that so that you guys can also have it for the 7 days of pretty, and you guys can just see how it works when it's stacked on another cake. But it's so pretty to look at. It really is. I went in with white chocolate ganache. That's what this is. I have that recipe as well. It is a 1-to-3 ratio. So 3 parts white chocolate, 1 part cream. I'm using this Malati cream right now and I've been using it for a bit. The Malati cream I get it from Spar, but I see not all Spars keep it. So that's interesting. Quite affordable. I'm buying a liter. You guys are not going to believe this. I'm buying a liter of the stuff for 50 rands. I swear. It keeps very well. That's the thing. I found that with some creams, they go off very quickly. I don't know what that's about. But that was my concern, to say how well is it going to keep. And the fat content is amazing. So it whips up beautifully if I want to fill cakes with it, but also it just provides such a rich feel to the ganache because it's got such good fat content. You've seen the American recipes where they call for double fat this. You won't need that here. It's just it already functions as that. I sped up these pods because they took quite a while. But you get the gist of it. You've seen me ice a cake before, and I finished it in some white chocolate buttercream. And for the rest of the video, you guys are going to get to listen to me pop in and out and speak to you guys in real time while I was recording. But yeah, I hope you guys are going to stick around for the rest of the week.
I went in at the pink, I'd stopped recording, but the black was still too, what's the word I'm looking for? Wet. So I had to stop.
Hi, home, what a product today. We want flowers. What's new? But I got this blue this. Blue. My golden refill. Actually, that's the one. Then let's go for my thingy. That's my thing. And I got some old brand. What are these? Grapes, blueberries, and wine plums. Got some wine plums and some mini fruit. What is this? Pestos. Yeah. That's what we got. And then some smoothies, juice, and avocado. Like I'm going to even take it out because you guys know my thingy. I don't know if they give us a bag. You guys remember I do a long time bag. And then they waste me time on the spot. I'm going to cook now. I changed my jeans. When I make my bones,
I literally am gonna put some decorative balls on this and really call it a day. It's so skinny, baby. Just that Ozempic. And because I was like, should I just finish it today? But I don't have much going on tomorrow and it's only needed in the afternoon. So I'll decorate it when I feel like it in the morning. I'm gonna wrap it up and put it in the fridge. Now the cupcakes, and then I'm gonna fix that corner there. The dishes need to get washed and such, and then I can go rest. Honestly, this was not gonna take that long, but I was zoning out most of the day. That's it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Let's decorate the cake. I made these yesterday. You've seen me make cake circles before. I love this mold. I can't find, I'm out of sticks, so I used paper straws. I'm gonna have to instruct them to be super careful. Luckily they are my people, otherwise I would have made a plan. think I made them too short because I want a bow now. I love these because like they just add something. When you, like this little cavity gives you space to do something interesting. I have some white nonpareils here, you guys. These, you guys saw me use these on cupcakes yesterday. But I really want the silver stuff, which is great because I need the container for something. This is just ganache. And I'm gonna fill the space using ganache. You can use anything, buttercream, out of wood chocolate, because the shell is already thick enough. I think it would be unpleasant to bite into that thickness of chocolate, personally. And then I'll add some sprinkles in there. I made a 9 using the silicone mold. It breaks off quite a bit, but I want it to be silver, and I'm going to show you my trick for that. Some sprinkles. I'm going to have these. I do this when I'm strapped for time. My metallic is silver. I'm just gonna be a bit generous. It doesn't have the sheen that I like, but it will coat it for me. Stick it in there. Make sure it's closed. Give it a good shake. Look at her. Nice, hey? Done. And then this will be my silver tab. Every time I need to color something silver, I'll put it in here, and then if it doesn't take too well, then I know I need to add a little bit more powder. You could paint it, but then you'd need to wait for it to dry, and we're strapped for time. We can't do that. Let's make a double bow, because I think these could use with a black bow. I love to add a bow to the Cakesicles. See? I do think I needed a ribbon size right under this, but I don't have one right now. I don't know how that happened. That was not a cute and elegant moment, was it? It's not important because is the bow double looped or not? It is. With a little dot of glue there. Where's my front? And I'll just hold it, and usually it's a stick, remember, but my house aunt is running off fumes today, honey.
Yeah, they said Cynthia got real. I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want to say, I'll do. And you're just gonna have to deal with it.
We're all done. It's cute. Hey, I don't have the size in the menu. I'm not about to add it. I'll never add the size. It's a 4-inch. It's very skinny, very tall. Among so many other reasons, mostly the cost and having to explain to my market why I would have to bill it the way I'd want to bill it. And I'm experienced enough in the space to know that it's just going to cause a whole lot of mess that I don't want to get into. It's possibly going to photograph to other people the same as the 6-inch one, which is much bigger, right? So if they are to order it and they saw somebody else's 6-inch one and they get this one, it would be a whole back and forth. All right. The point is, I'm not gonna add this. Okay, she's too skinty, honey. Transit would be a problem. People wouldn't know how to handle her properly. So many reasons. The point is, she's cute. She's cute and she's not on the menu. But if you want it in the mini skyscraper, which is the 6-inch and any other size, obviously I'll do it. I will do it. For now, ciao.